Good morning. Wow. Let me see what I can do here. What's that one? That looks creepy. Let me just rip that. What about? Ooh, that's not too bad. The wall. And you can't see the clock. Okay. The phone. It's a clock. It's a phone. It's a calculator. Everything is angled. Funny. Let me see. Does that look like it looks more focused, but weird angles. Mm, looks weird, but I like it. Good morning. Welcome to my channel. Wise one, Caren. That's my name. I'm your host. How do you say host in sign language? I'll have to look it up. My hands are cold. Just my fingers. Morning. Okay. Let's breathe. Rush right through it. Okay. All I can say for you to do so you can join me if you wish. But I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm just going to let it out. I don't think I'm going to hold it this morning. We'll see what we can do. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth and just let it go. All that rushing anxiety. Let it out. Calming, focus, grounding. Anxious, rushing energy. Just let it go, let it go. Somebody else had this song and we should give them credit because they worked very hard on it. The blanket. I am still working on my blanket. But I didn't have much of a nap this morning because sometimes I get up if things are unfinished. I'm getting up at pretty much since Christmas, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I gotta get up and then I stay up, which is new for me this year. Doesn't normally happen. Normally I hit the bed, go right back to bed. But the type of stress I'm under says that, oh, it's urgent. We get up. I want to write, but I'm like this, but I don't. So we'll start writing later. So I was all in my imagination because I'm just sitting there, laying there in the middle of the night, not waking up my lovely fiance. The children are going about doing their business. Just this way or this way? Where am I at? What am I doing? This one's higher. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Ah, I might be able to. Okay. Okay. Alright, I got a tail I'm going to crochet into because I switched my yarn. I finished with the one that left quite a long tail. I'm doing single crochets. Okay. Now that I've started crocheting. So last night, imaginary world of my mind. Have my thoughts, just me and my thoughts, and a lot of that is reflection, and some of that is planning for the next thing, events, things that need my attention, stuff, trying to solve world problems, It's a plethora of whatever to choose from in my imagination. And last night decided to pluck thoughts on because we've been going through dietary changes. Uh, I had somebody that I know that I take care of, they have diabetes, and so I was looking at their carbohydrates. And so I was looking at like a lot of people that have type 1 diabetes can eat the same thing every day and take the same amount of medicine or insulin, and they'll still their numbers, their amount of blood sugar, their amount of sugar in their blood per unit will still be variable. We'll still have several variables. We'll have differences. And I was watching TikTok the other day, and so I followed 4 people with type 1 diabetes, and they're like, "So tell me how I eat the exact same thing, measure it all out, and, you know, and I do the exact same exercise. How come my sugar was still this way this day and this way this day? It was so low, one day, and then the next day it's really high." And so my imagination is like, "Oh, I could answer that." So, like, when you're in a diet and you're working out, weightlifting or body training, a lot of times they'll have, like, meal preps. I've noticed, well, they'll eat the same thing every single day, which to me is a cringe thing. Personally, a cringe thing because, uh, we burn different calories and different types of nutrients and different things for different things, like the muscle building, like on the days that you rest, how much muscle you're building takes a lot to produce, like to make cells, to make muscle, to convert. So, but you're not always building consistently your muscles. And nobody takes into account how much, like like diabetes type 1, or just diabetes is a regulation of your own personal insulin. You no longer have that they do. It's a hormone, and your hormone is supposed to be able to flux depending on things going on outside your body, things going on inside your body. And it works so hard to take care of these variants, to calculate. You have like cute little sensors in your body that tell you when to release dopamine, when to release insulin, when to release sugar, like when to release from your food, your digestion, your when to digest, how much to digest, what, when to slow digestion, when is your thyroid start heating up your body, or to help with internal temperatures. And and it works all the time. There's so many different variables, so many different reasons, anywhere from you're building muscle, you're experiencing and you're learning, and they forget sometimes that your brain is a muscle too. So, and it takes like, it's a powerhouse. It's huge. It's your bridge, the cabin that takes care of everything. It's the central nervous system. It's what gets everything working from point A to point B. And so does your gut, which does all the secondary regulations. The you know, so the more it develops, the more it works, the more your brain creates neurons and puts neurons, or creates the little pathways for the neurons to go. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of calories, a lot of, you know, carbohydrates. It takes a lot of nutrients, more nutrients for certain things like eye function, hair growth, bone growth, cell development, because you're replacing cells that you're losing. They're like every 7 years, you're a whole new person. Yeah. But so when you have character development of the things that you believe and learn and practice in this world. Like if you're a devoted Christian and you've been a devoted Christian for like so long and you're better at being a devoted Christian where you felt like you've been tested or any other religion, if you're a better Muslim or a better, you know, or a better Buddhist practicing spirituality, you know, or Tao. Is it Tao? I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds real. Or you know, better at practicing any religion. There's there's a lot of religions in this world, and, yeah, so it's just I mean, even practicing and learning and doing your everyday things and results, there's things changing, there's variations, and there's a lot I mean, the people just don't understand how much energy it takes to keep a human being running every day, all day long. It's like all your lights on inside the house whole day, plus like Christmas lights. And not the it doesn't feel like the Christmas lights, but they changed to LEDs. It's a lot. You are like this bolt of electricity that just keeps on bolting. So it's not just the physical workout that you do when you exercise. It's the emotional workout that you have. It's the mental workout that you have because that's a muscle. Your practice of when you heal emotionally, when you heal, that's a muscle that you practice. When you socialize, that's a type of practice that you engage in and day out if you do or you don't. It's a type of thing that you learn. It's a type of part of your life, you know, that people don't like. They're like, nowadays, attention is a natural human need. Back then, it was like, oh, you just want attention. You don't need attention. People don't need attention, and they use it to regulate towards, you know, like discipline and trauma. And yeah, people are traumatized, and they don't. So, and we're gonna learn more, obviously, about if we've learned so much now, how much more there is left to learn. It feels like it never ends. About spiritual, emotional, other human needs that we just run into. And so if you're a diabetic and you have the same amount of medicine and the same amount of exercise and the same amount of food, same type of food, same amount of food, same there are so many variables about how much you need every day. It fluxes like anywhere from hormones for like the fact that you keep a cycle, the fact that a lot of females keep a cycle, and we cycle through. That was funny last night. Sitting there thinking about it, I was like, if you ever seen the Disney version of Inside Out, I was like, and mine, whoever from the attention department sends these little. Oh my gosh, these impulse guys are the shortest little things I've ever seen. They're so short and they run amok and they're so fast. I'm blind that I have like a short uh compulsive impulse, like no impulse control. You know, from attention department, like attention deficit disorder, causing me to have impulses. Yeah, that was funny. My imagination decided to play a movie. Um yeah, starring me. Just get to know me more. It's like the inside of my brain and the amount of power my brain. If it were like the ship of the Enterprise or whatever, sheesh. Like to run those guys for the God, those the girls from the menstrual department. They so mean. They're so mean. Yeah. But my own inside out because I would have way more than just the emotions and the workers, with everybody going. But yeah, thought about how yeah they're the shortest. Even people with dwarfism, the dwarf disease, they're so much taller than these impulse guys. These little sparks just running around doing whatever they want, causing fear in their gas. Somebody get them. What do you mean? There's no such thing as control. Get control of them now. Control is not imaginary. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If I had an Inside Out brain, Disney version of Inside Out movie brain, oh my gosh, it would be entertaining to me at least. Ah, yes. I don't know how much further I'm getting on this crocheted piece, but it is cold. The winter has decided to come in January of 2024 to the US. Isn't that great? I have not finished Games of Thrones. I'm barely into Games of Thrones. I was gonna sit down with Games of Thrones when I had the ability to well, sit down with Games of Thrones, but because I wanted to watch it, like binge it or something, or to sit down there and uh, do the things I was trying to do with it. Watch it and enjoy it and not be interrupted by small children who do not need to watch it. But it is really quite the amount of gore and stuff. The amount of like they let you get attached to characters and then they like play with your heartstrings. It's just awful. So I have not finished it. I think maybe I should just read the books instead of watch the movie or the television series. So I wanted to watch um House of Dragons, is it? I really don't get comfortable watching people get cruel with each other. That breaks my heart. We're so much more than that as a species, as an animal. With all the things that we have potential to do and potential to be cruel should not be one of them. Yeah, that's yeah. So I sat there and started playing the movie in my head that I made up. And it was entertaining to sit there and watch how let's use muscle. Like, I swear, not that anybody wants to hear about um menstrual cycles. But they're like, oh, this one's come on, let's go hit these genomes. Let's go activate these genomes. Oh, the genome says not to hit it until they're 40. Oh well. What? Why is my period only 2 weeks apart? throughout my life, it was either 2 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. It's like, "Oh my gosh, a 4-week period." Sometimes, certain days, sometimes it wasn't, sometimes it was really well, mostly it was really, really heavy. So, um, my hormones decided to do whatever they wanted with it, whatever they wanted, just sitting there hitting like, "Oh, look at this genome code. What does it say? I can't read it. Let's just do it this way." Oh my gosh, I swear. I swear that that's what's going on in my body is like, "Oh, I don't know how to read genome sequencing. I don't know how to do this. I'm just gonna hit this button." I swear my body is not like it's got the coding in there. It's got the sequence and the genomes and the things that, make it do what it's supposed to do, like a typical, well, not even a typical, but like a human thing. My body is just like, "Hey, let's do it this way." Like, okay, look at all those thoughts they need. We'll just shut those down. Executive function goes like, "I don't want to work today, but the whole world's gonna die. We're gonna die if you don't do that." I don't feel like it. And I'm like, oh my god, like, oh my gosh, we have an attack of this disease. Somebody go in there and get it. Eh, do we really need to? Think they're gonna die of influenza? Oh my gosh. So yeah, I really feel like my body is a very interesting, like, how do I put it? I'm looking for the word, and all these words are gone. It's like, oh my gosh, read all these stories, look at all this stuff, listen to, your mother who, like, articulates with a wider vocabulary in front of you than most people talk in their day-to-day lives. Like, oh, such a literary having a plethora of words to use, and I can't find them. And there's so many more words to go find because, like, I've learned that in order to learn English, to speak English better, more articulate, and the grammar to make sense, because that grammar doesn't make sense, the writings doesn't make sense. Linguists. I've started watching YouTube linguists because so many questions. So it's just like, okay, let's do this. Let's try this out and see if the answers start revealing themselves. Because that was a method that I used a lot growing up. Is like, this makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand this. I don't know why they're doing this. Let's just try it, trust the process, and maybe it'd be like, oh, that's why they do this. That's why people say that. That's why people do what they do. That's why no. Some of that stuff, I'm still like, "No, I can't culturally, lie to a poor little child. No. Um, no. I can't be dishonest about this. I can't be dishonest about that. I can't do this. I'm not going to I'm just gonna put my foot down and just not do this or that because that just doesn't make any sense, and it's horrible." So I was very much try, especially if somebody had been, like, mean to me. So I'm like, why would anybody be mean to me? Do they not understand how mean this is? Now, a lot of the autism is like, and the ADHD, it's like, oh, we have the part of the brain that um, has feelings is bigger. The part that processes those feelings can be smaller depending on the way the brain is designed as a neurodivergent. So if they're atypical, if they're designed with their brain to not be like that, then they're not feeling an intense emotional dysregulation at all. They can't emphasize in the same methods that you can emphasize with. The fact that they think that we lack empathy because we don't process empathy or that we don't show empathy really makes me wonder if they possess any empathy. So it's not about right or wrong, but what's right for you, what's wrong for you, it's not even a matter of right or wrong or what fits for a situation or what does more harm and what does less harm, what's more, you know, healthy for you and can you internalize as well as externalize and realize, what's a healthy input, like understanding what's going on and how much influence is good influence and how much influence is really up just funneling with the results that you're looking for. Because, like with kids, perfectly capable to do a ton more than we give them credit for. Do I say they can do anything and everything that an adult can? No, that's a learning process. We practice a lot of our adult skills. And that there's so many more adult skills that a lot of the population doesn't have because it wasn't practice. It was like, "Oh, they're too young to know how to do this. They're too young to be able to do that. They're too young. They're just, they're not capable." So it wasn't practice. It wasn't presented to them. That we weren't allowed to engage in that type of practice, and so they're now grown adults lacking natural practice. And it feels like to me that we are being domesticated, that we're domesticating ourselves to the point that we're crippling our abilities to function. So there's this balance and everything's all screwed up and it feels like everything's screwed up. But a lot of people have a beautiful life where they have everything functioning for them and they're succeeding and they have all their needs met. They're able to help others meet their needs. And it doesn't feel like that in my life. It feels crazy. It feels dysregulated. And it's frustrating. And it's a sense of helplessness. And it's a sense of, you know, rapidity that that I just have to deal with. Yeah. Mm, I still I'm trying to figure out where I'm crocheting the next stitch. Why this looks so funky. Oh, it's because I crocheted that in there. Why does it look like a twisted knot though? Am I missing a stitch? No? I don't know. There's a stitch. I'll put it in here. I think that's a stitch. Yeah, yeah, that looks like a stitch. We're good. Okay. But yeah. So that was most of that was last night. Just lying in bed going, la da da. I think I should write more. I believe I'm gonna try to do that. Uh, and get some of this stuff out. But we are getting close to the point where we can discuss what we're gonna talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. And I was readjusting, getting up an hour later, so I was trying to figure out how to fit this in here because I won't be able to do this once the car is drivable because then I'll be the one driving my kid to school. Yep. Hmm. And then we'll be getting ready for that. That's that one. It's the stitch. I don't know. Chained one at the end, skipped one because the chain is supposed to count as one. and went into the next stitch, and I have no idea if that's going to be straight or if I just screwed things up. I don't know. It looks pretty though. I like the blanket. I can't wait till it's done. I'm almost done with the winter rows here. I'm on the blue part of the last. I sandwiched between two pretty blue, like ice blue looking baby blanket, and then there's a white for like snow. I had those represent my winter colors. And these fall colors are so pretty. Uh, I've been using. Is it red heart? I'm using acrylic. This one is not the same. Feels like that. Okay, that one is not the same. But I've been using cakes. They're like bundles that are like a lot. So I was thinking that I was going to get a whole blanket out of one or two, but that is not a fact. So you can't quite get a blanket out of just a couple of cakes. Blankets are expensive when you crochet. Crochet is expensive nowadays because they know people will buy crochets and they'll be particular about it. They'll pay to get so much yarn. Oh, I like it. I like the blanket. The stitch, the tension in the stitch, I am not consistent yet. This is a good practice blanket, and then like great for my fiance and I to have on the bed. It's really for him because he paid for it. But I'm getting there. I'm crocheting ones for the rest of the family, the kids. You know, it'll be nice for our wedding. I'll give it to him as a gift for the wedding. Like, here, look, we won't freeze to death. If you marry, you're marrying me, and I'll make sure that we don't freeze to death with all my crocheting. My other arts and crafts. Tomorrow. So, yeah, it's January, and we want to work on. I should reflect on what I wanted to do this year. I think this year I want to get to liquidate a lot of our stuff and move in things that we really want to use instead of things that are not. I don't know. To organize our material wealth that we don't have and to liquidate into material health. I might discuss it with kids too. Be like, hey, the type of toys that you like to play with, because they have an abundance of toys, but we have no money to like go travel or do anything. So where we put our money and invest in what kind of material we keep, things like that. All right. Yeah. I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Until next week. No, love you. La 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 la. La 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 la. Love you, guys. Love you. And until next we meet, have a good one.